how's it affected customer service? It's the greatest thing ever. Because like you said, if you came in the 90s and we, disappointed you, treated you like crap, threw you out, were rude, how many people can you tell? But today, you have a megaphone and you video record me telling you, get the hell out of here if you don't like it, and, being rude. That could go viral. It's the best thing that ever happened because now shit companies can't hide, and what people say about you online, the average is going to be true.
You touched a bit ago talking about the 90s and, if I had that bad experience and I have this toxic 8, and how do you feel that the digital world we live in today, right? There's so much, and I'm looking for my phone at the moment, and here it is, instantaneously, I can express myself and my experience with your salon, right? Which I couldn't do in the 90s.
Right.
How does that impact the customer experience and knowing that, hey, if they walk out of here, they can either praise me or they can slay me. And, what do you do to deal with that? Especially if it's a negative experience, how it's one thing if somebody just going to come back or maybe they tell their friends not to go there, right? But man, instantly the world knows about it.
Yeah. I to me, and I'm not talking about the digital devices and social media. I'm pinning, there's a lot of drawbacks with it. But if we keep it in just the lane you asked, how's it affected customer service? It's the greatest thing ever. Because like you said, if you came in the 90s and we, disappointed you, treated you like crap, threw you out, were rude, how many people can you tell? And, and back then,
right.
You tell your neighbors, you tell your friends, you'd eventually forget about it until someone maybe once in a while say, hey, I'm thinking about going to, oh, no, that's really bad. Right. But today you have a megaphone.
Yeah.
And you could, especially, and you also have not only a megaphone, but you have a camera, the TV guys that used to carry around the big cameras.
Sure.
Everyone is walking around with that big news camera, and you video record me telling you, get the hell out of here if you don't like it, and being rude. That could go viral. So it was it's the best thing that ever happened. Because now shit companies can't hide, right? Your Yelp scores, not one off, but your Yelp scores are going to be, true if you have 50, and what people say about you online, the average is going to be true. And you can't hide. And great companies will be exposed as well, which puts us on on stage constantly, because if you're calling and talking to a customer service rep, you could be recording it. It should be being recorded by the business, but it should be being recorded just like, and we work with law enforcement, but I do believe, them video recording every, engagement with a civilian is a great thing. And I think it's good for them because now there's not the he said, she said, he called me this, he, was physical with me. Now there's proof. And that there's proof, there's hopefully, checks and balances and also consideration of, all right, maybe I'm not going to be as aggressive or whatever that may be, or the civilian can't lie and say he or she was. So I think it's great. I think it's great. I love it. And this goes back to the zero risk. There's a service recovery. So when you drop the ball, and I don't care if you're posting or you're not posting, if you call up and say, I didn't like your presentation, I didn't like your haircut, whatever business model it is, we're going to overcorrect. And that's where most businesses fail. What do you mean? Well, and then they make you justify it. don't punish 98% of your customers for what you're afraid 2% are going to get away with or try to get away with. I'm okay with getting taken advantage of 2% of the time. I don't think I do.
Okay.
But what 98% can't believe, how well we took care of it. You just call me up and you say, John, I was really disappointed in, here's what we're going to do for you. So the 3 rules of correcting when someone's upset. Address it immediately, take blame, and overcorrect.
So address it immediately, take blame, so take ownership of it.
Yep.
And then overcorrect.
Yep. Yeah. Instead of saying, well, you should have, and why did you wait a week? And all that stuff. Now, there's going to be people listening saying, well, we got some people that do this, every week they buy this can and they drink 3/4 of it and they say it was no good and they want a new one. Okay. That's the 1%ers, and you could have a thing for them. But if I've been coming to you and I never complain, and today I'm like, hey, this is flat. Don't, see how much I drank. Just say, here's another one. Handle it. There's a service recovery paradox that's very true. It's probably happened to you in your life on both sides of the fence, definitely as a consumer. The service recovery paradox is if you go to do business with someone and you have these expectations and they hit them, they don't blow you away. But, you come in and you make reservations for Tuesday night at 7:00 and you walk in and they have you down at 7:00 and you go sit down and you have a nice meal and you leave. Okay. It's a nice, you may go back, you may not, right? If you want that type of food, whatever. The service recovery paradox is if you go in and you come in, you're like, hi, I'm here for my 7:00 reservation. And they're like, oh, we don't have you. You're like, what? I called 2 days ago. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me see what we can do. And they run around, blah, blah, blah. And the place is packed. And you're talking to your wife. You're like, all right, what else is open right now? Where can we get in on Friday night at 7:00? And they come back and say, we're so sorry. Here, we did find you a table. It's going to be in the bar. Is that okay? It's a little louder. That's fine. As long as you get and they take care of the dinner. Right. Or they, they do something for you. That's called the service recovery paradox, where you came in expecting this and they bombed,
right? But
they made it right. They overcorrected. Now you might be more loyal to them than had nothing gone wrong. Because you're like, wow, I trust them. Like they didn't say, are you sure you have the right night? They didn't look to see if you have They didn't blame you. They just said, we are so sorry. And for your inconvenience, we've comped a bottle of wine, or we've comped this, or we're going to give you dessert or whatever. And the manager came out and he apologized for the inconvenience or the miscommunication, right? You're more impressed with them than, I actually like when we screw up. It's a sick thing. So I'll give you a really classic example of this. 25 years ago when I was involved in the salons, I had a rule, and it's still the rule. If it gets to me, it's free. Okay. And it's not hard to get to me. My cell number is all over the salon. And the note said, yeah. And the note says, love to know about your experience. If we crushed it, please let me know so we can celebrate it. If we missed the mark, please let me know so we can make it right. And then my email and my cell. And so very few people call me. And when they do, I'm glad they did. But people don't take advantage of it. They're not calling me at midnight. They're not, but when they do, I'm glad they did.
And are they calling you for the crushing it, or are they usually calling you with an issue? At what level they are? Okay.
But more are, and 99.9% email me. Here's my personal email.
Okay.
But if you need to call me, and so let me tell you something that's really cool psychologically about this. So I started this and just put my email, no cell. And I got emails, okay? I don't know, maybe 5 a month. And 4 out of the 5 were, hey, I really want to tell you, how I went to your salon for the first time, and this Sandy, and she couldn't have been nicer, and oh my God, and and 4 out of 5. So I got 4 greats, and one was, it could have been better. So it gave me the opportunity to fix it. Hey, let the next experience be on me, blah, blah, blah. For some reason, I didn't feel I was getting enough feedback. So I wanted people to know I was serious. So the only thing I changed was I added my cell number. You will get me. Couple of people just called just to see if it was really myself. I will tell you, here's the thing that happened. I went from getting 5 emails a month to probably 15.
No doubt.
By putting my phone number. I didn't get more calls. I mean, I got a few calls here and there, but it just said, man, if this guy's willing to put his personal cell number, he really wants to know. And I'm going to tell him. And I just got more emails. Okay. So, but my thing was to my staff was, if it gets to me, it's free. Because no one wants to call the owner, the general manager, the vice president up. You don't want to do that. Let's say you had a bad experience last night in a restaurant and you're really upset. You don't want to call that restaurant today. And if you do, you're mad. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, if you're that mad, and now you get the general manager on the phone, you almost have to embellish it because you're getting him on the phone. You're like, yeah, oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. So I told my employees that whoever calls me, I'm not going to argue with them. Whatever they want, they get. If it gets to me, it's free. And whatever they get is going to come out of your quarterly bonus, the manager. Uh-huh. So my whole point was handle it at the salon level, because when it gets escalated, people get really angry. And when they have to tell their story 2-3 times, they start remember, oh, you know what? This happened to me last year. This isn't the first time. And they're telling other people. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that to happen. So here's my story. Someone called me 25 years ago and said, Mr. DeJulius, I got my hair colored at your salon, at your Solon salon, and they got color on my suit. It's a woman suit jacket, which is horrible because we're supposed to make you take off your clothes and put a robe on for that reason. So we already screwed up. Yeah. I'm like, oh God. And so I said, can we get it? Can we take it to the dry cleaner? Happy to pay for that. She goes, no. She goes, I already tried. Can't get it out. She goes, and the suit is worthless without the jacket. And they no longer sell the suit. Oh. Yeah. So I said, well, can I send you a check for the suit? And she couldn't believe. She's like, well, it's $270. This is in the 90s. She goes, it's like $275. I said, can I send you a check? And she was like, you don't want to know you don't want to know how old it is? I said, no. She goes, you don't want to see it? No. She couldn't believe it. Hung up, looked up her thing for her address to send her a $275 check. And I sent her a half-hour massage for her inconvenience. Now, there's a little marketing on that end. Okay. Now, what we do, we probably still do this, is whenever we had wanted to give, an apology, mm-hmm. If we had a new massage therapist, a new nail technician, we'd always give you, as part of the recovery, a thing. Here's a manicure with Amanda. Amanda has no clients. So it kind of does us a favor too. It impresses you that we gave it, but we're also getting Amanda, instead of her sitting around all day,
there's something to do now,
doing nothing to do. She's doing these apology gifts, but she turned a lot of them into clients. So it's a win-win. Yeah. All right, so we must have had a new massage therapist at the time, because I sent her a $275 check and a half-hour massage for her inconvenience. I looked up her history. And she's been coming in, she's been a client for 3 years. Mm-hmm. She comes in 6 to 7 times a year. Good client. Never referred anybody. So send her off this. And about a year later, I was curious if we retained her. And I looked her up. And in the following 12 months, she came in 7 more times. I was like, yes, right? We retained her. Then I clicked on her referrals. And she referred 18 new customers.
Wow.
for $275, what advertising or marketing could I spend $275 and get 18 new customers? So I tell my staff, get color on everyone's clothes. But that's the point. Yeah. Own it, address it immediately, own it, and overcorrect.
Yeah.
Instead of getting into a pissing match, sure. You should have taken off your jacket, or you don't like your haircut. Well, it's been 2 weeks. Why didn't you? If you didn't like your haircut, why didn't you come in the next day? I don't give a shit. Give him a free haircut. Now, if this is the third time he does this, yeah, right. But
I have a bigger issue there. Something, yeah, for sure.
That's zero risk. Yeah. That's what being zero risk is.
All right, awesome. I'm going to think about that one a little bit more in future interactions. That's for sure, right? Because I could see that. So, John,
a lot of times, like I have an employee, I have a lot of employees that because where they previously worked, they were programmed not to trust the customer, and they're protecting the business, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I can't blame them because they're thinking the business is getting taken advantage of them. So it's really a hard habit to break. That I say, no, Lindsay, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. Trust them. I want you to be naive, not paranoid. Okay? And so, Lindsay, this is the first time, Mark's been coming here for 2 years. He orders books from us every time he hires new employees. If he says this time that, he ordered 30 and he only got 20, send him another 20. Don't send him the 10, send him 20, right? Mark doesn't have a pattern. He's been a good customer for years. And this is I send him 20. Don't send him the 10 because 10 would make it right. Send him to 20 because I want his mind to be blown, right? It's an opportunity to be a hero to him. Actually, don't send him. Drive those books over if he's in Northeast Ohio. But that's the thing versus, no, John, I have a receipt here that says it was a case of books. That case of books is 30. It's okay, Linz. Even if, I'm sure he's not doing it on purpose. Maybe they got lost. Maybe UPS lost the 10. But he has a history with us. Right. He's never tried to take advantage of us. Be naive.
Hi, I'm Mark Thomas, founder and CEO of Current Tech Solutions and Cyber Guardians. We know business owners like you want to focus on growing your company, not worrying about IT problems or security threats. That's where we come in. Our team uses AI to protect your business from cyber risks and keep everything running smoothly. If you're ready for peace of mind and a stronger future, reach out to us today. Let's secure and elevate your business together.